Let's break down everything the Toronto Raptors did at the trade deadline. And just as importantly, let's break down what they didn't do. Because when you look at this deadline in isolation, it feels quiet. But when you zoom out, it tells you exactly how the Raptors view this team right now. Toronto made 2 moves before the deadline. Nothing flashy, nothing headline-grabbing, but both moves were very intentional. And to understand whether they did enough, you have to understand what their priorities actually were. Coming into the deadline, the Raptors had 3 clear objectives. Number 1, get under the luxury tax. Number 2, add front court depth. Number 3, improve the team's shooting. Those were the goals. And if we're being honest, only 2 of the 3 were addressed. Let's start with the most important one, ducking the tax. This felt inevitable for most of the season. Toronto's payroll was creeping into dangerous territory, and with big contracts already on the books, staying in the tax this year would have created long-term problems. So they made the move. They attached a second-round pick. They got under the tax. It wasn't exciting, but it was necessary. This move alone resets flexibility, avoids future repeater penalties, and gives the front office breathing room moving forward. From a management perspective, this was the bare minimum, but it was also non-negotiable. The second priority was front court depth, and this is where expectations and reality didn't quite line up. Fans were hoping for a traditional 7-footer, a big body who could battle with the elite centers in the Eastern Conference. But according to reports, those players simply weren't available at a reasonable price. Names like Yves Missy, Day'Ron Sharpe, and Goga Bitadze were reportedly going to cost a first-round pick, and that's where Toronto drew the line. Overpaying with premium assets for a short-term fix would have been a mistake. We've seen that movie before and it didn't end well, so instead the Raptors went cheaper. They used a late second-round pick to acquire Trayce Jackson-Davis, a move that won't grab headlines but does address a real need. Trayce Jackson-Davis isn't the perfect solution. He's not a 7-footer, he's not a floor spacer, and he's not someone you build your offense around. But he does give Toronto something they desperately needed, another body. He can rebound, he can protect the rim at a functional level, he offers more defensive switchability than a traditional big, and he fits reasonably well within Darko Rajakovic's offensive system. Most importantly, he allows the Raptors to stop running lineups where the tallest player on the floor is 6'7". That alone matters. Now the third priority, shooting. And this one simply wasn't addressed. But to be fair, it was never going to be easy. Shooting is expensive at the deadline. Teams don't give it away for cheap, and Toronto wasn't in a position to overpay. So instead of forcing a move that would hurt them long-term, the Raptors accepted the reality and focused on internal improvement. That's not exciting, but it's understandable. So did the Raptors do enough? That depends on what you expected. If you were hoping for a major swing, this deadline was disappointing. If you were expecting a careful, conservative approach, it makes sense. Toronto got under the tax. They added front court depth. They didn't lose any significant assets. But when you look around the Eastern Conference, the bar is rising. The Knicks got better. The Celtics got better, the Cavaliers got better, the Sixers are improving, and Toronto, while more stable, didn't really close the gap. That's why it's hard to see this team as a serious playoff threat right now. They can compete, they can win games. They're likely to stay out of the play-in. But when games get physical, when shooting becomes critical, when half-court offense decides outcomes, that's where the limitations show. We've seen it already, leads slipping away, offense stalling late, defenses loading up on Brandon Ingram, and without consistent shooting or size, the margins get thin. So why didn't they do more? Because sometimes, doing something feels worse than doing nothing. There's value in patience, there's value in internal development, and there's value in not forcing a move that doesn't actually make you a contender. Scotty Barnes is developing in meaningful games. This team is winning more than expected, and there's a foundation forming here. The Raptors may have looked at the market and decided that even a big move wouldn't truly change their ceiling right now. And if that's the case, holding assets for the offseason might be the smarter play. This deadline wasn't about going all in. It was about staying flexible. The real pressure is coming this summer. That's when the front office has to address the obvious issues: size, shooting, and roster balance. Those are non-negotiable in today's NBA. For now, the Raptors are better than they were last. They're more competitive, and they're building something. But they're not there yet. This deadline did the minimum. The offseason has to do the rest.